Mayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadasi 11th chapter and it's called the Brahmanandi Yoganandaha. Here he establishes up to now that it's only in the Advaita state that one recognizes that one is happy. Now the question is, who recognizes that one is happy? So in the Advaita there is no non-duality, and how do you know that one is happy? Says you don't need a means of knowledge to know that I am happy, because it is Swaprabha, it is self-shining, self-luminous. It's just like I don't need a light to see another light. Its nature is to illumine everything. It's self-revealing. That's what essentially self-revealing means. Happiness is also self-revealing. That's what the teacher says. In the deep belief state, one is in the Advaitic state, and because there is no duality, and therefore one is happy. And he says, the student will ask, how can you say that? Just because you believe in Advaita, everybody, you cannot say that that statement is based on your belief rather than the fact. So how do you prove that there is Advaita has a happiness? In fact, I will say only Dvaita has happiness because there is an experiencer, experience and experiencing. In the deep belief state, there is no duality. Therefore, you cannot have a happiness also to experience because you don't have an instrument to experience. So that's what the student says. Then it says, tell me, if that is the case, what was there before creation? Before creation of the duality, what was there? It says that Advaita was there before creation, because there cannot be Dvaita before creation, because Dvaita has to be created. So there has to be Advaita before creation. But this statement that there is an Advaita before creation is a logical statement based on, because it has to be only one choice. It cannot be Advaita, because it cannot be Dvaita, therefore it is Advaita. So it's not a statement of experience of Advaita, it is a statement of logic. That's what the student says. If that is so, how do you prove your logic? Logic should have a basis for a Drishtanta has to be there. Is it with Drishtanta or without Drishtanta? Without Drishtanta, logic cannot stand, because according to the Indian logic system, for every, that's called Anumana Pramana, there has to be Drishtanta. Example, to establish Vyapti Jnanam, a concomitant relation between the cause and effect has to be established. Even according to scientific logic, it says, show me experimental proof. You need for a theory can only be valid if there is a valid data. So valid data is nothing but a Drishtantam, example has to be there to prove that this is so. And without that, you can have thousands of theories which are meaningless theories also. So if you have Drishtanta, if you say that is by example, show me what example you have in order to prove that logically there has to be Advaita before. And the student will say, there because of Pralayam, so he is using an example based on some scriptures or hearsay that during Pralayam everything goes and creation starts from the manifestation, unmanifest to the manifestation. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata. So it was an unmanifested state and it is expressing into duality. Unmanifested state means Advaita state. And it becomes one was there from which everything came out. It's not a zero, null, it's not a sunyavadam. It is something was there that alone was there before creation, it became into many. So avyakta dini bhutani vyakta madhyani varata avyakta nidananyeva tatraka parivedana. Why are you crying? Before that there is nothing, and he is only in between. So later it will not be. So adav nasti ante nasti vartamana api tadadha. So in the Gaudapada says it was not there before, it is not going to be there in between also, it is not really there. it appears to be they are not really there. That's how Ajativada is a declaration. But here it says, if you say there's somebody sleeping into a pralayam and you are using somebody else's sleep as an example to illustrate that there is an Advaita. That is the point that teacher teaches the student here. Number 30. Drishtanta parasuptis ched Drishtanta parasuptis ched Ahoto kaushalam mahat Ahoto kaushalam mahat Yaha swasupti na vetyasya Yaha swasupti na vetasya Parasuptau tuka katha Parasuptau tuka katha. Together, Drishtanta parasuptis ched Aho to kaushalam mahatu Yaha swasuptim na vetyasya Parasuptau tu kakatha. Hey, you are using other people's sleep as an example without ignoring your own sleep. So what a great intelligent you are. So he is essentially mocking at the student or objector. Drishtantaha parasuptis ched. So parasuptihi, so deep sleep of others. Drishtanta, you using an example to illustrate that, establish the fact that there has to be an Advaita before Dvaita. And iti ched, if that is the case, then aho, bravo indeed, te mahat kausalam, your great intelligence is need to be appreciated. So it's essentially trying to pull his leg. So te mahat kausalam, your great intelligence. Yaha swatuptihi, once yaha, so there where you are ignoring your own sleep and using somebody else's sleep as an example here. Yaha swasuptihi, one's own deep sleep. Aveti, if you don't know your own sleep, Asya parasupti to other sleep, how do you know Kakat? How do you know that other people sleep? You say, I'm not experiencing, I'm not an Advaita, there is nothing, and because there is no happiness, and that's what you said, because it's not an experiential base, it is only logical base. If you say, but to justify your logic, you need an example, and you are using Brahmaji's sleep or other people's sleep as an example to illustrate, ignoring your own sleep. What you are experiencing, you are ignoring, and you are using other people's sleep. How can you experience other people's sleep? What an intelligent you are. Is essentially, this is, you are not using your logic properly. So, 31. This is just a logical argument to prove. Most of us say, how do you prove that Advaita is happy state? Right? Every day we are experiencing that state of happiness in the deep sleep state. And people claim that Dvaita is happy, and at the same time, the duality where Vaikuntha or somewhere else or heaven is happy because there is everybody there who are saved. According to the Christian, you are saved means you go to heaven, and your eternal heaven where you will be sharing heaven with everybody else. Obviously there will be politics and all that there also, because there are two people, there will always be politics. So that's called Dvaitam. So Ditiya jo bhayam bhavati. This is, you are afraid of the second, not afraid of the first. So in the deep sleep state, nobody is afraid. And in the deep sleep state, everyone wants to go. Because that is a state that everybody is happy. And everybody experiences the happiness every day in the Advaitic state. And at the same time, they say the happiness is in the Dvaita. So there is a problem here, in the logical problem also. Here, if you say other people sleep, then why don't you use your own sleep as example? So that's what 30 sloka. 31. Nicheshtatvat paraha supto Nicheshtatvat paraha supto Yadahamiti chettada Udahartum sasupteste udahartuhu sasupteste Soprabhatvam balad bhaved. Together, Nischeshtatvat paraha suptaha Yatha ahamiti chettada Udahartuhu susupteste Soprabhatvam balad bhaved. Paraha suptaha. So if you're using other people's deep sleep state, nicheshtatvad, because they are not doing any action, you are concluding that other people in the deep sleep state, there is no activity involved. So it is an absence of activity. Nischeshtatvad, their inaction. Yada, just as aham in my deep sleep state, iti ched. If I conclude that in my sleep also I am not doing any performance, any activity, because I see other people not performing. It's not an experiential based, it is a logical basis, because I am observing in the waking state other people sleeping and there is no activity, actionlessness is there, and therefore I also conclude in my deep sleep state I am actionless. So this conclusion is based on the observation, experimental observation of other people's sleep. I am not experiencing their sleep, I am experiencing their inactivity while they are sleeping as I see. So that's what essentially conclusion is. So there is no, its actionlessness is only the deep sleep state. That's his conclusion. Parasuptaha, other deep sleep state, nicheshtatvad, their inaction, and therefore yatha aham also iti ched. Therefore my sleep also, I am also actionless in my sleep. Iti ched, if you conclude that, tada, in that case, udaharuhu, giving example of my own sleep, te sushupti, in your own deep sleep, swaprabhavatvam, self-revealing, balat bhaved, becomes stronger example. So if you can say that I must be actionlessness, or I must be in actionless state, then that is an experience now, because not because of that, because you yourself has gone through a state of actionlessness, and that is swaprabhavatvam. That means it is self-revealing, has become stronger now to prove yourself that you are experiencing the actionlessness not because of the observation of others, because you yourself going through the deep sleep stage where you are actionless. Is your own example provides a stronger basis to prove that actionlessness is known without having a pramana. That's essentially what the teacher is trying to drive. So therefore, the experience of actionlessness is itself is ananda, is what his conclusion is coming from, because Advaita, and that is Swayam Prava, it is self-revealing that you are actionless, therefore you are also happy. And that's what is the conclusion here. 32 sloka. Nendriyanina drishtantaha Nendriyanina drishtantaha Tatyapangi karoshitam Idameva swaprabhatvam Yadbhanam sadhinarvinam Yadbhanam sadhinairvina. Together, Nendriyanina drishtantaha Tatapyangi karoshitam Idameva swaprabhatvam Yadbhanam sadhinarvina. So now he is concluding one, because of na indriyani drishtantaha, indriyani na drishtantaha, there is no instrument there. Indriyani means both karmendriyas and karmendriyas and jnanendriyas. All 10 organs are not functioning in the deep sleep state. So indriyani na drishtantaha. So it cannot be example to say that therefore I am happy. Here is concluding here objection, a new objection being raised. If you say because there is no activity involves karmendriyas, and there is no perception that involves jnanendriyas. So absence of the 5-10 organs, sense organs and karmendriyas, that itself is an example to illustrate. Then tadapi angikaroshi tam. So tadapi, even then tam, if you agree, idamaiva swaprabhavam, that itself is called self-shining. The knowledge that there is no 10 senses, no this one, itself is revealed by Swaprabhatvam, by self-shining. You don't need an instrument for knowing it, that I don't have the instrument to know it. You know that you don't have an instrument to know it, that itself is a knowledge that the instruments are, this knowledge is gained without any having instruments, because it's Swaprabhatvam. That's what essentially this is. Idamaiva Swaprabhatvam Yat Bhanam Sad Nirvinam. That knowledge without sadhanairvina. So sadhanaihi vina Yat Bhanam, the knowledge that takes place without sadhana, without instruments of knowledge, without pramana, you are able to know that you are not able to see and you are not able to act. So your 5 sense organs are not functioning and your 5 organs of actions are not functioning. That knowledge itself is self-revealing without an instrument for knowledge. There is no triputi there, but you know that you don't have any instrument to perceive, or you don't have instrument to perform action. And that knowledge itself is self-revealing. Swaprabha. That itself tells you that there is a knowledge that I am happy also can be gained without a pramana. That's what the statement is. So now he goes to a little bit more objections. Stamadvaita swaprabhatve, stamadvaita swaprabhatve, vadas supto sukham katham, vada supto sukham katham, srunu dukkha tada nasti, srunu dukkham tada nasti, tataso sishyate sukham, tatatosta sishyate sukham. Together, stam advaita swaprabhatve, vada supto sukham katham, srunu dukkham tada nasti, tatasto sishyate sukham. So supta in the deep sleep state, Advaita Swaprabhatve, non-duality is self-shining. Advaita Swaprabhatve, the self-shiningness of the non-duality. Stam may be there. Sukham, happiness. Katham vada. So absence of the activity at the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas. So therefore that is itself is self-revealing. If that is the case, then why do you say that may be okay, we agree up to that. Then sukham, how do you say happiness? Katham vada, how do you say I am absolutely happy there? All you can say is it is an absence of activity from the jnanendriyas or karmendriyas. That in the Advaitic state, because there is no Dvaita for me to transact with. So in that, or to see or to perceive, there is no Dvaita. So it is an Advaita. So existence of or the knowledge of the absence of the 10 karmendriyas, 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriya only proves that it is Advaita, all right. But how does it prove that I am happy there? So that is the question here. Katham vada sukham, katham vada. How can you prove that I am happy in the deep sleep state? If you ask that, iti chet, sruno, listen to the answer. Tada dukkham nasti. There is no suffering there. If you want to say how do you know I am happy? Because you don't have any suffering. So this is a statement, therefore I am happy. So here, absence of the suffering is the presence of the happiness. That's essential. It's not a positive happiness, it is the absence of suffering. So that is essentially is what happiness is. Here is a very interesting definition. And anytime I am happy is what? Absence of suffering. It's not a positive happiness, that appears to be. But absence of suffering can be intense, can be classified in terms of the moda, pramoda and all that also. So sruno tada, in the deep sleep state, dukkham na asti, there is no suffering. Tadaha, therefore, sukham te sishyate, therefore what is remaining is only pure ananda only, because there is no unhappiness. So Happiness is the absence of unhappiness. When unhappiness is absent, automatically you are happy. So that's what essentially a statement of fact here, and we had to look into deeply. Is that happiness? Is absence of suffering is happiness? And that has to be proved, and teacher is going to prove it slowly here. And he gives an example here. Andaha sannapyanandaha, andaha sannapyanandaha, syat viddho aviddho atha rogyapi, syat viddho atha rogyapi, arogiti srutihi praha, arogiti srutihi praha, tatcha sarve jana viduhu, tatcha sarve jana viduhu. Together, andaha sannapyanandaha, syat viddho aviddho atha rogyapi, arogiti srutihi praha, tatcha sarve jana viduhu. So, andaha san api, andaha, a blind person in the waking state, even though he may be a blind person in the waking state. Anandaha syat, is not blind in the deep sleep state. So here is a statement, andho anando bhavati. So a blind man is no more blind. So even in the waking state also one can say a blind man is no more blind. So why do you say that? Say one fellow was born blind and he says that I cannot see because I am blind. So I am blind, therefore I cannot see. So that's where is a statement by a blind person. Then question was asked, how do you know that you are blind? So how do I know I'm blind? That I can see. I can see that I cannot see. So I can see that I cannot see is what essentially the blindness is. Andho anando. If I can see, then I am not really blind. And in the deep sleep state also, a blind man goes to sleep, and there is no blindness of the, because instrument indriya itself is folded, and the folded instruments include the defective instruments also are folded. So I am neither defective or effective. It is in the deep sleep state. So andaha sannapi anandaha syat. He becomes unblind. He become not blind in the deep sleep state. Viddaha and aviddaha. One who has hurt, viddaha means one who has hurt, means there is a pain, physical pain. And aviddaha, one who has no pain at all, the physical pain. Atha, similarly, rogi api, even whether somebody is unhealthy with the disease, or arogi api. Either he is having a disease or not having a disease. And when he goes to deep sleep state, none of the suffering of all that will be there. So I am neither blind nor having a vision. Neither I am a rogi or arogi. Neither I am hurt nor hurt. All that belongs only at the physical level, the body, mind, intellect level only. I have folded everything. So as I am is independent of that. So these are properties of the instrument's problem, not my problem. This is called Anvaya Vyatireka. They are there and I am there in the waking state. When I go to deep sleep state, they are not there, I am still there, so I have nothing to do with it. That is exactly the conclusion that is called Anvaya Vyatireka. One is there, other is there. One is not there, other is not there. One is Anvaya and called Vyatireka. So Anvaya is valid that when I am blind and I am having rogi, I am there. So I think I am unhappy, I am rogi, I am this, I am having problem. All problems of my waking state I say I am having a problem. But when I go to deep sleep state, I don't have any problem. All problems are pushed out, but I am there without a problem. So problems do not belong to me, essentially. Therefore, I am happy as I am without having any problems. Therefore, problems are the ones that are called dukkham, and they are not there. So absence of the problems itself is the happiness that I have. So now the student says, oh sir, If that is a statement, then I have another problem. What is the statement now? Na dukkha bhava matrena, na dukkha bhava matrena, sukham loshta silpadishu, sukham loshta silpadishu, dvaya bhavasya drushtatvat, dvaya bhavasya drushtatvat, iti chet vishamam vachaha, iti chet vishamam vachaha. So a student will observe, sir, if you say that absence of the suffering itself is happiness, and everybody goes through the experience of the absence of suffering in the deep sleep state, that means they are experiencing the happiness, and there is no need of instrument for to measure the happiness. All the statements you are saying. So na dukkha abhava matrena. So by the absence of the suffering, abhava matrena, only by the absence of the suffering only, sukham is, if you say happiness, but that's not really sukham. There is no happiness not present. It's only absence of suffering only. Because loshta silpadishu, in the mud and the silpa, in the stone also, there is no suffering. So you say they are happy being a mud and being a stone, because they have no unhappiness about the experience of either suffering. So from your logic, absence of suffering is happiness, and therefore they must be happy. So there is a problem in your logic. So sukham loshta silpadishu dvaya abhavasya drushtatvad. So we can see that this absence of the duality or absence of the not seeing the suffering of that is itself example that that's not enough. Absence of suffering is not enough to prove that one is happy. Iti ched, if you say that, so if you, that is your objection, vishamam vachaha, this logic is not correct. So this example is not correct. What you are giving example is stone and the mud should be happy, that because they don't have unhappiness, that example is invalid. That's what the teacher says. Why? He gives an analysis in the 36. Mukhajainam vikasabhyam, mukhajainam vikasabhyam, paradukha sukhohanam, paradukha sukhohanam, dainyajabhavato loshte, dainyajabhavato loshte, dukhajuhana sambhave, dukhajuhana sambhave, together, mukadainya vikasabhyam paradukha sukhohanam dainyajabhava loshte dukkanyuhana sambhavet. So paradukha sukha uhanam. So paradukha sukha uhanam. The miseries and sufferings of others are inferred. So I can infer that this guy is happy, this guy is suffering by what? By looking at their face. So paradukha sukha uhanam. So mukha dainya vikasabhyam. So dainya mukha vikasam. The mind is like a castor oil face or happy face. Castor oil face is a sorrowful face. So mukha dainyam, by the sorrowful face or by the happy face, I can infer that he is happy or he is suffering. In the loshte, in the case of mud and stone, loshta and dainya, the suffering, etc., abhavataha, they are absent. I cannot looking at this, whether they are happy or unhappy, I cannot say. But in the looking at the people's faces, I can say they are happy or unhappy. So abhavataha, being absent, dukkha divuha, inferred, na sambhavet. So you cannot conclude by looking at mud and this one, they now they don't have suffering, because whenever I see people either having a suffering or happiness, by looking at their face, they can tell that one can infer that one is happy or one is unhappy. By looking at by the stone and this one, I cannot tell whether they are happy or unhappy. So therefore you cannot use that kind of example for this to illustrate. So this argument will go on to prove that happiness comes from Advaita only. So this is the statement of proof that we'll continue in the next talk. We'll stop here at 36. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.